How we present ourselves to the modern world tells our story more than we might realize. Only few are aware that you are the authors of other people's perception of you. Some might be aware, but not care about the story they tell because people will either way pick and choose what chapters they prefer. But who are the people who are able to go against the tide? And who are these people who choose to present themselves a certain way? And what story do you tell?
To my opinion, fashion is important when it comes to me because the way I dress, it makes me feel like I'm open to do what I feel like doing.
Yeah, I think it's important that everybody be able to express themselves through their clothes, their different styles, and yeah.
I think it comes down to identity, actually. Fashion can be a big part of who you are because you can dress how you feel, you can dress how you want others to see you. So yes, I do think fashion is it's a big deal, but it shouldn't go over the top.
What are your thoughts on fashion? Do you think it's important?
No. I mean, it's an expression of yourself, but I don't think it's the end-all be-all. There's more to a person than what they wear.
As much as we don't want to be superficial as human beings, we are quite superficial. And for me, when I look good, I feel good.
When talking about me, fashion is something that I'm known for. It's like my identity. Like if somebody looks at me, they're like, okay, she's a fashionable person. She's wearing this. I could never do that.
As a content creator, as someone on the internet, your image is your brand. And so for me, I want to be classy, but still feel sexy and look confident. And so I choose clothes that make me feel that way. Similar to traditional media, like white is the standard of beauty and it's pushed on us. A lot of the times it's what we see. But I've been very intentional about setting up my algorithm to be people that look like me. I never saw people like me be considered beautiful. My afro, usually people don't see it as classy or professional hairstyle. And so I try to wear out my afro in a professional setting. And so it kind of changes the narrative.
As a kid, school days, I was bullied a lot for my skin tone. Now I have grown a thick skin. But before, as a kid, when people say things like this, it's insane. And especially when your family also does something like this. I remember, I was a great swimmer back in the day. A really good swimmer. And my mom pulled me out of swimming because I was turning darker. And, it was like I had a career in swimming. She felt it important for me to have my skin tone rather than having the, career as a swimmer. A lot of times, I just want to keep myself inside a closet. I don't want to get out of the house. It affects you mentally so much.
Because I'm not getting paid, I always think about my younger self, what I would have loved to see. This is what I would have loved to see. This is what would have helped me with my confidence. I do think 100% our environment and our culture, the way we are raised, forms kind of this mental picture we have about ourselves in the world. And that's essentially what fashion is about, what you think about yourself or what you want to show to the world.
Somewhere or the other, I built myself in a way that I started wearing a lot of colors. Okay, so people are not judging or looking at my skin tone first, but they are first confused with all the colors. It's a very psychic, messed up thing. Can I cuss? It gives me an outer layer, somewhere or the other where I'm protecting my bare self. But it's covering, giving me layers and protecting me from the social eye. I don't want to go through all of it again.
I grew up with really strict parents. I mean, I would say strict dad. My mom didn't really care. But he was kind of a soldier on modesty. And when I was under his roof, my clothing choices were highly affected by that. So I had like very modest outfits. Looking back, it gave me the confidence because I was dressing differently to the other girls. My dad was always like, don't be afraid to like just stand out. You don't have to fit in. You can dress differently. You can be modest and still look cute. As much as like my old like sense of fashion was affected by like my parents, religion, my new fashion sense is more of me.
That blue represents millions of dollars and countless jobs. And it's sort of comical how you think that you've made a choice that exempts you from the fashion industry when in fact you're wearing a sweater that was selected for you by the people in this room from a pile of stuff.
I'm ready.
When I chose to not care, I was like kind of protesting and I wanted to be respected for my decision to, which I don't want in the documentary. So don't put it in, Sarah. Don't put it in!
I feel like everyone dresses the same. Everyone just has the whole like sweatpants, crop top, jacket kind of down with the Air Force Ones. To be honest, sometimes I can't tell girls and guys apart. I am from Niger in West Africa.
I'm from India.
I'm from Dubai. I've survived basically off of these old clothes, and I still think that my personality, the way I present myself, is not exactly from these.
I think fashionable would be like unique, extravagant, and like, you know, when you stand out of a crowd, I would say, is when you're fashionable.
Do you think you stand out of the crowd?
For different reasons. I would stand out because it's not clothing that people would usually wear here, and it just looks different from the norm. So yeah, I stood out a lot. The way I dress just reflects a lot of me. I wear pretty bright colors. I know some people don't like that, but it's pretty like all eyes on me kind of thing. You know, it feels good, and I had that back home, and I think maybe just I felt I need to continue that here. When I first got here, it was kind of thing that kind of I want to say I was maybe a bit bothered by. Even though I have that component of me that does want to stand out, there's also another side of me that's like, I want to look like everyone else. I want to fit in with everyone else. First of all, I know I'm never going to wear sweatpants and a tank top anywhere. So I was kind of like, I'm never gonna fit in with these people.
On any given occasion, my natural response does not immediately think, oh, I should think about how I can look my absolute best or how I can stand out. And I think that's what fashion is, a way to stand out. I don't think fashion was ever important. As a culture, we might have contaminated something that was just purely art.
I have felt that aha moment, especially when I've placed a really baggy looking plain black shirt on top of me, looked in the mirror and I thought, oh, I like how this looks. In a way, I'm a hypocrite. I look for the ways to demean fashion and the way to say, oh, it doesn't matter and all, but in reality, it kind of does.
All these people speaking into that one person's life who has to make a decision about what they wear, even their information is coming from another source. They are being influenced about what fashion is from another source. It's like everyone wants to be respected, everyone wants to be validated, but the whole notion of beauty can be so destroyed when it goes out of hand, which is when I think it all falls down to this one person who has to make a decision about what they want to choose to wear, but it's not even their decision anymore. Because they're thinking about what their friends said, they're thinking about what their mother expects of them, they're thinking about the boy they like. For me, again, I've taken the route where in that battle, I go with the I will do what I want and I don't want to have this conversation with you. That's my solution to the battle. I've been to parties with friends and I've been told, you should wear something else. You should do this. You should do that. Stand this way. Stand that way. People are not able to just rest, and just, I don't like. I'm getting so angry just me thinking about it. Can we stop it? I'm generally getting like angry.
Stereotypes and labels, they're definitely predominant and they have definitely affected how I dress myself. The ones who put them there are my parents. They have stated many times that the way you present yourself to the world is very important. There's this preconception usually for Indians that they are not well spoken, and those stereotypes, they tend to then go a little bit deeper and go into looks. I know these are very niche stereotypes, but they go around into the community and they affect a lot of the younger generations, especially when it's your grandma or your mom who's saying that to you. So whenever I do put on something in the back of my head rings out, hey, I don't think your mom would like you wearing that. It runs deeper because in my head, it's my mom telling me, you don't want a person passing by to look at you and think, look at that Indian. Because when you're being judged, you're not judged individually, you're judged based around your entire race, your entire community. It's all on your shoulders. So yeah, it's definitely affected the way I dress to the point where it's hitting me like PTSD in the back of my head. So
stories are people's own personal secrets, which we only get a glimpse of through elements like their clothing. Being a person of color is a privilege, yet it doesn't stop the nagging voice in your head telling you that you are the other, even in your clothing. It is irrelevant whether you agree or not that fashion is important, because whether you like it or not, the clothes you put on today give me a glimpse of who you are. So, what are you wearing tomorrow?